What's up guys, Danny James here, and in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to do this advanced freeze frame transition inside of After Effects. Let's get into it. Here's a composition that we're going to transition in this tutorial. So here are 3 shots. So we'll go to our second shot and then duplicate it, and then right at the beginning of that frame go to time and freeze that frame so that this is a continuous frame, and then we will draw a mask around the subject. Get your pen tool right here, and then you can zoom in using your mouse scroll wheel. You can display at full resolution so that you can draw this mask much more quicker and precisely. I also have a tutorial which covers how to mask on Premiere and also After Effects. It's like a step-by-step guide, so you should also be seeing it right on top of the screen right now. Here's our mask. I'll quickly switch back to my selection tool, change the label color for this layer, and the reason you can't see what we've really done, it's because we need to actually push this to our left so that it overlaps of our first clip. Cut it so that it ends right on this cut. So the transition should look something like this. Okay, go to your effects, look for transform, drag the transform effect onto that layer, and then from the cut go 4 frames to the left. You can use page up keys on your keyboard, 1 2 3 4. Add a keyframe for position, hit U so that you can see that keyframe. Go early into that freeze frame, and then make sure it comes from either side. It can come from our right side. Let me just bring it from our right, so it should come in like this. Yeah, you can determine the number of frames you need this freeze frame to be. You can extend this period. It can be like that, but just make sure it comes around 4 frames before the cut. Highlight on those 2 keyframes, set them to easy ease. Click on the graph editor, highlight right there down, slide this right side of the graph to the left so that it's fastest in the beginning. Yeah, and then it slows down at the end. And then go back to your effects and look for an echo. Put it on that freeze frame. Change the number of echoes to 4 or a higher number. Change how it operates. Make sure it composites in back or front. And then reduce the decay to around 0.75. And then it should look something like this. Yeah. One thing I forgot to change, I'll hit M twice so that I can see my mask settings. Give it a feathering, and then because of these lines I will reduce the expansion. Just -5 is okay, so it should look more cleaner right now. This looks really good so far. And then finish it off right at the end of that clip that we started with, right at the end of that last frame. Duplicate by hitting Ctrl D, and then right click, go to time and freeze that frame. Okay, I'll change the label color also for this one. We'll need to move this freeze frame so that it comes right after the cut, right after the last frame, and then we'll also need to keep it at the top of every other layer so that it has precedence. On this freeze frame, we are actually not complicating anything here. We're just going to find this anchor point tool, move the anchor point from the center of the image to one of the corners, probably to our right, and then we'll go back to our selection tool, hit R on this layer so that we have our rotation. Add a keyframe for rotation, go a few frames later on, and then you can rotate it downwards and out of perspective up to somewhere there. And then you can space these keyframes, put them to easy ease, and then it should look like this. It's kind of fast. I will squeeze this second freeze frame a bit to my right. Okay, that looks good. And then highlight on those 2 keyframes, go to the graph editor, highlight on those 2 points. We want to make this animation faster at the end and not in the beginning, so we'll drag this like that. So it will start off slow and then be faster at the end. Yeah, So far it looks like this. Yeah, I will show you just one thing that you can use to spice this up. Create an adjustment layer, set it on top of everything. We're going to place it right on this second transition up to when this item flies away. Ctrl+Shift+D, delete that excess. On this adjustment layer, go to your effects and add a brightness. Go to the brightness, hold Alt while clicking on brightness so that you can add an expression. Type in wiggle and then hit enter so that you can choose the wiggle option. And then you're going to enter an expression 10, comma, and then 150. So 10 is the frequency, and then it will jump between 0 and 150. Yeah, you can see we have some flickering happening on the screen during this transition. Then you can go back to our effects, look for posterize time, drag it on that, reduce the frame rate. I'll go with something like 11. Now it should look a bit more jittery. Yeah, so you don't really have to go with the posterize time option, but I just think it's an awesome idea. That's it. I hope you did enjoy this tutorial as much as I did prepping it for you. Feel free to check out my website at dannyjames.co for editing preset LUTs and packs in case you're interested. My name is Dan James. See you in the next tutorial. Peace.